My name is Andrea Werhun. I'm a writer and performer, and I'm also a sex worker. In books, movies, and every syndicated crime drama imaginable, sex workers are typically portrayed as victims or villains. It's high time we told our own damn stories. Here's mine. In my early 20s, I worked as an escort.
How dangerous is this job?
You're fine.
And I thought, if this is what it is, that's kind of fun. I was feeling like a triumphant sexual queen.
Wow. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Ultrasonic Film. As always, I'm your host, James, talking about movies, and more movies. I have two very special guests on the show right now. Nicole, welcome to Ultrasonic Film.
Thanks, James.
And Andrea, welcome to Ultrasonic Film.
Thank you very much for having us.
It's great to have both of you here. We're talking about your new film, Modern Whore, which, of course, is a title that just grabs you. You have made a film about the oldest profession of all time, but told in such a colorful, tongue-in-cheek manner that it feels fresh and completely new. Is this a reaction that you're getting from a lot of the audiences that have seen it?
It is the reaction we've been getting. Thank you. Yeah, that was definitely our intention to kind of create something that's colorful and, has fun along the way and maybe disrupts people's expectations of what a film about sex work might look and feel like.
Absolutely. Those expectations took me by surprise, and I felt a little bit naive at times. Andrea, there were a couple of things in the film that just didn't occur to me. One of which is that a client could use the threat of a bad review as coercion. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, but there's little things in there that go, oh, wow, yeah, that could actually happen.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about the importance of storytelling, not only from a sex worker perspective, but the ways that stories that other people tell about sex workers can put us in harm's way. And so, I describe in the film that these client reviews that you're referencing, they're a type of storytelling for men by men to get other men off in the most heterosexual way possible, we presume. And those stories do impact our careers as sex workers because it sets certain expectations about what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. And yeah, it can make or break us. And it's really important that sex workers have an opportunity to challenge those without risking our own, streams of income and health and safety.
People aren't coming to the rescue to sex workers.
These guys, they're repeat offenders. They eventually do the same thing to every single one of us.
Knowledge is power, and they don't want us to have that kind of power.
So, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you here?
Something must have happened. Women don't just become strippers.
That's called trauma porn.
There's still a couple of really powerful lines that just cut through everything once in a while, and you go, whoa. And one of which was, I was scared to say something to him because it would go off script. And that immediately it kind of puts you in the perspective of the central character as well. So yeah, very, very powerful line.
Well, thank you. And that's real. It's like, I think we can all relate to having relationships with people perhaps where, our money's at stake or we're engaging with power and you don't want to do something that's going to displease them or make them look at you in a funny way or reject you or cast you out of a certain social circle. And so you realize that you are following a script and that going against what they're doing, risks you being ostracized in some capacity. And so, yeah, I'm glad that jumped out at you.
We all have this internalized horophobia within us. And I have it too.
So I kept my whoring a secret.
Especially when it came to my mom.
The direction is so colorful. It's constantly throwing visuals at you, but you go very, very straightforward for the chats with the mother and the boyfriend. And I think that's very smart. It brings you right back down to earth for those chats. And that's exactly what you needed in the film at that time.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's like, this is a film that can be quite maximalist visually. There's a lot going on. And so I think it's always with any kind of art piece about how do you balance that, and then how do you create contrast scene by scene in how it feels and looks. And I appreciate that you're saying, these interviews that are more intimate, if it's Andrea and her mom, and it's sort of their relationship, Andrea coming out to her mom, and how they have kind of evolved over the years, to kind of come to a place of mutual understanding in terms of Andrea's sex work career.
You were concerned about my safety.
And your soul.
And my soul.
I think like the personal is political is personal, like to bring it back, like it's really interesting to see like mom reactions to the film. I think, moms relate to my mom in the film, and there's just like something so fundamental about a mother's love for their child, and how transformative that can be, and how important, accepting your kid for who they are and who they become as adults is really important and also really hard. So that's been really heartwarming to see the love from moms. And then it's interesting too, the way that like my boyfriend, Oliver, has an impact on the men watching in the audience.
We need a new archetype.
I see sex work as a job where you use your body and you use your mind like any other job.
I'd be remiss in not mentioning the connection to Sean Baker and Honora. It really surprised me, Andrea, how much you were involved. Honora was not known to be a film that was going to be this massive Oscar-winning hit at that time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I was a script consultant. Sean has referred to me as the chief script consultant on the film. I was involved in helping to provide critique at the very early stages of the script, back when it was just sort of scribbles on the page, and it hadn't been written out yet.
If I get married to an American, I wouldn't have to go back to Russia.
Okay, so who should marry?
And you, Honora, take this handsome gentleman to New York.
Да я был с ним 2 недели назад буквально. Он не женат.
Well, you did tell them, right?
Иванжан, открой дверь, пожалуйста. Надо разговор.
Ваня, what the fuck?
Ты женился на ней? Да.
What the fuck is going on here?
Они написали, что она проститутка, блядь.
Like, what do you do to get all of this?
I am telling you, you do not know this guy.
Vanya!
And just having regular meetings with Sean to go over the story and about the depiction of sex work specifically. And I did have one meeting with Mikey. And I wasn't on set. But they both read modern horror, and that was sort of the gateway for them to like get a little bit more perspective on how to flesh out these sex worker characters that were on film. And like what an amazing experience, truly. Like, and obviously watching the success of the film subsequently has been mind-blowing and a total treat.
Nicole, I noticed with the colorful direction that you had a lot of fun. I particularly liked the little ode to Sex and the City with the writing on the screen and shooting Andrea through the window. But there seemed to be you seem to be having a lot of fun with that.
Absolutely. I think, this is a film where at the beginning, Andrea says, the majority of the representations we see of sex workers are victim or villain archetypes. And so I think right off the bat, we're thinking in an archetypal way. We're thinking about, how sex workers are typically portrayed, but also how women on film to a degree are portrayed. And from there, we're in this kind of stylized story world where Andrea can embody a number of different archetypes that we are familiar with. And I think that kind of Sex and the City iconic imagery of like a woman writing at her windowsill. But it's sort of Sex in the City, for a new topic and a new generation.
I would certainly agree. Not only is it a entertaining documentary, it's also an important documentary, and the two of you have really done that very, very well. It's been such a pleasure chatting with both of you. Nicole, Andrea, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on Ultrasonic Film, and I wish you well in your future projects as well. The film is called Modern Horror, and I think everybody should check it on out.
Thank you,
Thanks, James.
Hope that one day you can be face out and not be assaulted.
Shame and stigma can silence us.
We need to tell our stories.